Okay, so this is Kurt Johnson Savage on Twitter. I've never done a live stream tweet before. I'm trying to figure it out right now. One of my followers had sent me the information on how to do it. So I'm on my way back from working out for a couple hours at a really nice gym in Chicago. It's just me and one personal trainer, so there's no risk with the COVID as far as I can tell. We both wear masks. It's just the two of us. Keep track of our health condition before the workouts. So I go there every week and work out for a couple hours in addition to working out at home. So right now I'm in a relaxed frame of mind, and I'm wondering about something to do with North Central College. So if you follow my Twitter at all, you see that I've been protesting and that I have some issues with North Central College in Naperville, Illinois. And the reason for that is because I did that time in prison. I defended myself. I was unjustly convicted of murder. That's a story for another day. So I did 19 years, ended up being 21 and a half years with a parole violation. So after that, I made a lot of plans while I was in prison. So I wanted to get a couple degrees. I wanted to finish law school. I was in law school before prison at John Marshall in Chicago. And I also wanted to get a degree in psychology. And I got the catalog for North Central while I was in prison, okay? And they had something called a Masters of Leadership program. I already have a bachelor's degree, obviously. I was going to law school when I got arrested for shooting someone in self-defense. Okay, so I applied to the program at North Central. I also apply as a student at large so I can take some psychology classes and language classes. They didn't indicate there would be any problem whatsoever. I was very upfront about the murder conviction, that I had been to prison. They didn't say that would be a problem at all. I talked to several people in the graduate student office, graduate admission office. Okay, now they did say that just to cover the bases so everybody knows what's going on, I've been totally upfront about this from the beginning. They said, well, we have a committee that has to meet to approve your application. You're special because you have a felony. Whenever somebody has a felony, there's a committee meeting and they have to approve it. That's going to be on Wednesday. The Monday classes start. That's going to be on Wednesday the same week. So you wouldn't be able to start till January. This is fall of 17. I was trying to get in. Okay, so I went to registration because the admissions office had given me bad information before on some minor issues. So I went to registration. I said, is that true? If the committee meets on Wednesday and give me the green light to go to school there, can I start that semester, even though the semester started on Monday? The woman who's worked there like 30 years said, yeah, that's no problem. You can add all the classes the day you're admitted. Go to each class. Here's the forms. Have the teacher sign these. Once you're admitted, I'll put you into the classes with these forms signed. Okay, I took the forms to each class on Monday. I sat in on the classes with the teacher's permission. I said, hey, do you mind if I sit in so I don't miss anything? Because to the best of my knowledge, I knew I was going to be admitted Wednesday. Nobody said anything negative at all when I applied and told them about prison. Okay, so I went to classes Monday and Wednesday, a full plate of classes, like 5 classes, 3 one day, I think 4 the next, some repeated. And then I got turned down, but here's the whole crux of the issue. They lied about the reason that I was denied admission to North Central College. Instead of having any intestinal fortitude, which other schools have told me, you have a murder conviction, we don't feel comfortable letting you in. And if it's a private school, they can do that. Okay, fine, I just have to take it. But North Central College didn't do that. They said you went to classes before you were officially admitted, and that's why we're not letting you in. When I tell people that, lawyers, people that work in the medical field, anybody, they always say, what? That's crazy. You went to classes before you were admitted with teacher's permission, and that's why you're being denied entry. It doesn't make any sense. A lot of college students skip classes. I was eager to get going. I really wanted to work hard, learn, get back into society. So that's the reason they sent me a really nasty letter. They said if you ever come back near the campus, you're going to be arrested for trespassing. So that pissed me off. I don't like being lied about. If you had just said that I was in prison, you're not accepting me, fine. It would be wrong, but at least you would have not lied. So now you're lying about me and treating me like shit. So I started protesting that on the sidewalks that are public property near the campus. Right away, you know, I got some positive responses, and some people didn't like it. Okay, so here's where I found out about the rape cover-ups at North Central College in Naperville, Illinois. A girl comes up to me after a few days of protesting, and she says, "Hey, I really appreciate what you're doing, protesting the way the college acts. I was raped by an athlete." She told me which sport. She said, "I've been here a couple of years. I reported it to the school." She didn't go to the police. That's her option, you know, whatever she wants to do. She said she reported it to the school. They had a hearing. The athlete was there. She was there. The committee decided that she was not raped, that she was lying about being raped by an athlete at North Central College. Now, do you think that the committee that had this hearing really has the interest of the girl in mind or the interest of their public image in mind? It would look horrible if one of their athletes raped a student, right? So they said, no, the rape never happened. All right, so she didn't transfer colleges. She's already deep into this program, and the money, whatever, she doesn't want to transfer. But now here's the sickening part. The athlete, whenever he would see her on campus, after raping her and after having the hearing where he was found not guilty by the school committee, he would make fun of her in person, face to face. She has to deal with that. So having been wrongly convicted of murder and spending 20-some years in prison for that, I could really empathize with that. And it was a very sad story. So, and it's just another symbol of what North Central College does to people, how they don't give a fuck about anyone except getting the money and having this nice, tidy image, Naperville, Illinois College. Okay, now the teachers there are great. And when I went to those classes, the 5 classes in 2017, every student I met was very good and very nice. The teachers were all really good. There was one that was a little iffy, but the other ones were great. Great Spanish teacher. The guy lived in Europe for a long time. He got his PhD in Europe. Okay, so the students are great. The teachers are great. The administration is the problem. So I add that to my protest because they're treating her like shit. They're treating people like shit routinely. Okay, so fast forward a little bit. I'm in a bar in Naperville before the COVID, right? Before the pandemic. Sitting next to a girl. We start talking. Turns out she graduated from North Central College. Okay, now she wasn't raped there, but she had a period where she was depressed. So she saw someone who was an acting psychologist. This is according to her. I only have what she told me. I don't know if it's true. It sounded true to me. Someone was the acting psychologist at North Central College, but they didn't have a graduate degree, maybe a bachelor's degree, so they weren't qualified. And they said that she would have to leave the school because she was depressed. And they kicked her out, and they wouldn't let her back. So her dad's a lawyer, and they spent a lot of time and effort, and they finally got her back into the school. And somehow she said she lost some credits. I don't know exactly how that happened. They had to fight for that. I don't think she got them all back, but eventually she was able to graduate. So I said, wow, that's a really horrible story. You know, I feel bad for you. And I showed her pictures of Dean Kevin McCarthy, the guy who lied about me, and whose letter is on my Twitter feed, where he said that I went to classes without permission. That's a lie. And I have the letter, so he's a lying piece of shit. I showed her his picture, and I also showed her a picture of Kimberly Sluis, who is some type of administrative assistant to the president of the college. And I had written to the president, and she answered me with some bullshit answer. She wasn't going to do shit. So I showed this girl at the bar the pictures of these 2 people, and she said, those are the people that fucked me over. Kimberly Sluis and Kevin McCarthy. I said, wow, no shit. So I posted their pictures on my Twitter feed. And then I see on Twitter there's another girl who was raped at North Central College. And she was in high school, and she was hanging out by the college. And I guess she had an acquaintance, a friend, some guy who was a student at North Central College. And he ended up raping her. Okay, so she's posted a lot of tweets about this. And she claims, you know, again, I don't know the facts, if they're true or not, but they sound true. She says that in her Twitter that the guy that raped her was reported to North Central College before for raping someone. And the school didn't do anything about it, like 2 years before she was raped. Okay, and then she posted text messages between her and another girl who was, okay, I'm Kurt Johnson Savage, I did time in prison, so I'm just going to keep it real, who was anally raped by the same guy before or around the same time this girl was raped. So the college never did anything about this guy. So she went to the police, Naperville police, she says, fucked her case up for a while, a couple years, I think. They finally got somebody who knew what they were doing on the case. But unfortunately, because it was kind of like a date rape situation, the guy only got convicted of, according to her, like some minor charge, like, I don't even know if it was really sex related, just like some type of battery or something like that, and he got probation. But then the school had a hearing after all that was done, and he was kicked out of the school, according to her and all her tweets. But the point is, he already raped 3 people, okay? So why the fuck didn't the college do anything before that? So I add that to my protest. And then they called the police on me about a dozen times. They tried to get me in trouble multiple times. And all I'm doing is exercising free speech. Believe me when I tell you I did all the research. American Civil Liberties Union. I checked all the laws. I can hand out flyers on the sidewalks at North Central College. So here's my issue today. I got some negative feedback from about a half dozen students at North Central College that somehow object to me protesting near the campus, being in the area and protesting. I don't understand why. One of the complaints is, and so they'll put something on Twitter or they'll send me a message, hey, you're an asshole, get the fuck off our campus. And I'm not going to do that because I'm a Marine, I was in the Green Berets, I did 20 years in max prisons. If I want to do something, I'm going to fucking do it. So and plus it's the right thing to do. I'm bringing attention to the issues at North Central, which is that when girls are raped, the college sweeps it under the rug. And that's just a pattern of treating people like that, like shit, treating me like shit. So one complaint that the students say, this half dozen students or so, and I hope it's just a half dozen. I hope it's not more than that, because I really don't understand what the fuck you're thinking about, if you have any values or morals whatsoever. But, and I mean, you don't care about this? It's a huge issue. So they say, well, you're just taking these girls' rapes and you're using it for your own means. Yes, I am. But I am genuine when I'm doing that. I am very concerned about these girls. The girl that talked to me in person, I really felt for her. She said, I appreciate what you're doing. You're bringing to light what the college is doing, how they treat people. We had a nice talk, and you know, I saw her later, and I feel for her. I'm not using her. I'm bringing attention to the issues at hand. And every student should be concerned about that. I've had a lot of girls come by and say, hey, I really appreciate what you're doing. They'll take a flyer, and then I'll see that they added me on Twitter and that they follow me. And so they see what I'm doing. All I want is the best for everyone, and I hate it when piece of shit bureaucrats like Dean Kevin McCarthy and Kimberly Sluis, and I have a right to say this is free speech, by the way, when they do this fucking shit. How are you going to take a girl that was raped by an athlete or anybody else at the school and just sweep it under the rug? It looks bad? Why don't you do something about it? You notice they only do things that look good publicly, okay, like the BLM. They weren't doing shit originally, and then when it became a bigger issue, they had to do something, and piece by piece, bit by bit, they eventually got in line. Do you think it's because they wanted to? No, it's because they have to. They're forced to do it. The rape thing, I don't know why they don't just set up like a special office with a psychologist and maybe a police liaison or something and help people. Why don't you do that? Just address the issue head on, okay? So some of the students are like, hey, Kurt, you're an asshole. We don't want you on our fucking campus. Why? All I want to do is study. I wanted to study psychology. I mean, it's not really, you know, a major issue. I can go somewhere else, but you know, it's convenient for me. So, and it, you know, the program is decent. So why is it a problem if I want to get out of prison and I want to go back to school? If you got a drug dealer or somebody who was convicted of murder or anyone, would you rather that they go back to school and try to integrate into society? Or would you have them join the Hells Angels and commit heinous crimes on a daily basis? Okay, I did make the acquaintance of some Hells Angels while I was in prison. They didn't protect me. They don't do that. But they respected me because, you know, I held my own in prison. So we had mutual respect for each other, okay? I could easily join the Hells Angels if I wanted to, all right? But why would I do that? They commit felonies every day. I'm not a criminal. I don't do that. So, you know, I respect them as being men and holding their own in prison, not taking any shit. But I would never join that now that I'm back out in the real world. And I didn't join in prison. It was just a mutual respect. We hung out together. You know, there's very few civilized people in a max prison, and believe it or not, the heinous, violent people that are in the biker clubs, outlaws, Hells Angels and all that, they're actually the most civilized people in prison as far as I'm concerned, because they have blue collar jobs, they know what it's like, and they do horrible things out on the street, but in prison they didn't really do that much. So wouldn't you rather have someone go back to school and try to be successful than turn to a life of crime or something like that? So that's what I'm not understanding, is why would a student at North Central College, I know you're only 18, 19, 20 years old, but maybe you don't have any life experience, but wouldn't you just rather have someone go back to school and try to fit in and become successful? And what's the problem with that? What's the problem with me bringing attention to the fact that girls are raped at the school and the school doesn't do anything about it? I mean, every college, girls are going to be raped. It's an unfortunate fact. But why would you treat the girls like shit? And why do you object to me protesting that fact? It's all the same thing. You treated me like shit. That was like the tip of the iceberg. I dug a little deeper. Oh, you treat a lot of people like shit and you do very immoral stuff. This is the administration at North Central College. So I'm just curious. You can DM me, you can post on Twitter, you can do whatever you want. But I don't know how you justify that. You get all these little smart aleck comments from somebody who's 18 years old. Okay, what's your point? What are you trying to say? I have a right to free speech. I don't give a fuck how many felonies I got. I have a right to free speech and I can do whatever the fuck I want, and there ain't a fucking thing you can do about it. Okay, so right now, the college has lied about me, and we're in court right now because they said I was disturbing the peace because I alarmed a security officer. Okay, that guy's a lying piece of shit. We're gonna be going to court, and then I'm gonna be suing his goddamn piece of shit ass because he lied about me, and when you lie about someone, that's defamation of character. So that piece of shit is getting sued. By the way, the college, North Central College in Naperville, Illinois, is spending $500 an hour on 2 attorneys, minimum, probably some paralegals too, at a lesser charge, just to keep me away from the campus. They falsely charged me with disorderly conduct. That was the best they could come up with, which is nothing. And they got a stalking no contact order. The security guard claimed that I'm stalking him. Okay, does that even make any sense? I don't even know who this motherfucker is. I wouldn't be able to identify him right now. I don't remember his name. It was on the sheet, but I never saw this piece of shit before in my life. Okay, so what I would guess happened is that the attorneys consulted with the administration and the security department, and they tried to figure out a way to keep me off campus, and this was the way to do it, which would be a heinous, immoral, and illegal thing to do. I don't know for a fact that they did it, but that's what it looks like to me. That's my opinion, that the lawyers counseled them to lie and make up a false charge, keep me off campus. Well, it's not going to work, because what happened is now I'm going to be suing you. There's no proof that I was stalking anyone. Obviously, I didn't do it. And there was no disorderly conduct. I was in my fucking car. I wasn't even talking to anyone. I had the windows rolled up. So if you think that's disorderly conduct, well, I'm going to see you in court. And then I have to file the lawsuit actually before it's even going to trial, because there's a 1-year statute of limitations on defamation of character. So I'll be suing before the case is even resolved. So that happened in November of 19, and it's still dragging on because of COVID and all that stuff. So this is the way North Central College administration acts. I got nothing against any student there. I think some of them are, I don't know what to say. If you're mad that I'm protesting that there's cover-ups of rapes at the college, I'm protesting how I was treated because it's a social justice issue. I don't understand why you would do that. And if you have a problem with somebody exercising, this is the United States of America. So if you have a problem with them exercising free speech, I don't understand what that problem would be. And there's nothing you can do about it in any case. And as soon as that no contact order is ruled invalid in court, I don't know if I'm going to be back on campus, because obviously I don't want to get COVID just because some pricks in North Central College administration cover up rapes, okay? Yes, I'm protesting, and yes, I am writing about it in my books. I'm posting it on Twitter, but I'm not going to kill myself by catching COVID by standing on a street corner passing out flyers until who knows when, probably end of 2021. By then it'll be a dead issue. I already have them in court. So I had a lawyer tell me that they've probably spent at least $150,000 on this, keeping me away from campus. And by the way, if you look at my Twitter feed, and I don't delete any tweets in general. I've deleted tweets only to edit them, but I have a policy. I don't delete my own tweets because I don't say anything wrong and everything I say is valid and true. So there's no need to delete anything. I'm not ashamed of anything. I'm not ashamed of being in prison. I'm proud of it. I survived prison. I was wrongly convicted. Okay? So I'm actually proud of myself that I was able to survive prison without being killed or going crazy. So if you look back at those tweets, you'll see that I wrote in an email to the president of the college before I started protesting, and I said, hey, I would like to meet with you. I was treated like crap by your college, and I'd like to meet and talk. And that's when Kimberly Slewis, uninvited, sent me an email. Why don't you fill out this little bullshit form that has like a space for half a paragraph? Tell us what happened, and then we'll not do anything about it, basically. I could tell that's their attitude. So I didn't do that because it takes a lot of explanation that, you know, they lied about me, blah, blah, blah. When people get out of prison, here's my main point, I guess. When people get out of prison, they should be able to go back to school. They should be able to get a job. I mean, they did their time in prison, right? The judge sentences them to an appropriate time in prison. And theoretically, when they get out of prison, they can start fresh. But society, it's not just North Central. It's not just a couple kids at North Central that object to it. It's not just North Central. But North Central is like a definite poster child for doing this. They don't let people back in society. And that's wrong. It's not going to work. That's why you have people like the recidivism rate, people go back to prison 70% or higher. And that's because they can't get a job. They're not accepted by society. And I offered the graduate admissions office my 900-page trial transcript. I said, here, you can borrow this and you can read it for yourself and you'll easily see that I was wrongfully convicted. You know, a guy snuck up from behind with an axe handle. I had a legal gun on me. I shot him to death. There was nothing wrong with that. So I offered him the transcript, and you know, there's more in there, like the guy was hiding. It was an ambush, basically. So, and it's all in there. And the cop testified my gun was legal, blah, blah, blah. But they didn't even want to look at it. Why don't you want to look at it? What are you basing your committee decision on? Just the fact that I have the conviction, you don't want me there. Yeah, I mean, I get it, but at the same time, what are you going to do with all these people getting out of prison? There's, I think, 30 prisons in the state of Illinois. Each one has about 2,000 people. Every day, from every prison in Illinois, 5 to 10 people go home. Okay, so that's a lot of people. And they go right back to the communities they were in originally. So if they want to go to school, which is rare, I would think you would want them to do that. You try to help them. You don't have a policy of, no, we're not going to let you back in. So that's how the whole thing started. And, you know, I don't see anything wrong with anything that I'm doing, any of the protests, any of the writing about the college. I have great empathy and sympathy for the girls that were raped at the college, and the school doesn't do anything about it. The security needs to be a lot tighter, and they need to have more programs in place to avoid having those things happen. And once something does happen, they need an official policy, which they do not have, and some type of official office where the girls can get help. Now, where was it? Oh yeah, there was somebody, and I can't remember who, that they said they did counsel a student who had been raped at North Central College. Okay, I can't remember the woman's name, and she said that one thing she does is she goes over them with whether they want to report it or not. Oh my fucking God. So some type of administrator at North Central College, if I remember correctly, had posted somewhere on the internet that she is counseling rape victims as to whether they want to report it or not. Well, let me ask you this. Now, if all this is true, this post that I saw, an administrative representative from North Central College, well, of course they don't want it reported, okay? They're probably going to tell them, hey, don't report it, you know, blah, blah, blah. They should all be reported. The guy should be pointed out and should be arrested, and it should go to trial. There's never a time when it shouldn't be reported. I understand. Now, I do think at the same time it should be up to the woman, of course, but maybe if it was like a date rape situation or something, I don't know. But generally, it should be reported. I'm just saying that it seems to me the school would prefer that they're not reported. So they have statistics of how many girls are raped at North Central College every year. It's like a half a dozen. Now, what I'm wondering, though, is Like the girl that I talked to in person. Okay, the school determined that no rape happened. They said that she was lying. So that doesn't go on the statistics, does it? So the ones in the statistics, that number is low because she didn't go to the police. So therefore, it's not considered to be a rape at North Central. So the number is low, half a dozen, but it's consistent every year, 3 1 year, 5, whatever. And but it's a low number. It's a bullshit number because not all the rapes are reported, and sometimes when they're reported, they're not considered to be valid. I mean, based on logic, right? So that's it. If you got anything that's helpful, send me a tweet. And that's it. Kurt Johnson Savage. I'm out.